Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. And if you're here for the first time, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, a veteran in this channel, welcome back for yet another exciting episode of Risk, Money and Insurance. And so today, welcome to October, finally welcome to October. And I just want us to engage in a conversation today about mentorship and sponsorship, right? And so this conversation is sort of inspired by this book. I think I posted it a long time ago that I was reading this book, right? It's Lean In by Sheryl Sandberg. And it talks about women, work, and the will to lead. And I think for a lot of people, they might think, well, it's all about women, so I will not read the book. But if you are someone who's like an employer, like an entrepreneur, and you work with women overall, or like you're a husband, you're trying to understand just like the world from a woman's perspective, I'd actually recommend reading this book because it brings like so much insight, right? So also, another thing that was brought up quite a lot, like a theme in the book, is sort of mentorship, right? And I began to reflect upon my own life on, the people who have played a really important role in getting me to where I am today, who have encouraged me along the way. And most of those people are my mentors. So when it comes to mentorship, a mentor is someone who has walked the journey that you're trying to walk, right? They've experienced the journey, and they hold your hand and help you to walk the same journey as well. That is sort of how I define mentorship. So they give you guidance and direction. If it's like a career mentor, then they're helping you building up your career. If you aspire to be like a great business person, you also talk to someone who's walked the journey, someone who has, built up businesses and they've succeeded. You ask about the lessons and everything. And my approach to mentorship or just mentoring people or being mentored is that as a mentee in the relationship, I drive the conversation. I drive, sort of where do we go, where are we taking the relationship? And funny enough, even when someone like calls me or DMs me and they're like, yeah, can you be my mentor? I normally say it like up front. Like if I am agreeing to be a mentor, first of all, what kind of mentor do you want? Do you want like an academic mentor? Do you want like a career mentor? What kind of mentor do you want? So that I can also assess to say, do I have the skills or the capacity to give you what you need? Which is also very important because someone cannot come to me and say, well, I want you to be like my business mentor, whatever. And I'm like, dude, I'm still just trying to figure things out. I don't think I am the perfect person for the job. So it's important to assess, those kind of things up front. And then from there on, there are some relationships, like mentorship relationships that work, like from the get-go. For example, when I started working, my employer matched me up with a lady in the business who was amazing, and she was assigned to be my mentor for a year. And after that, we had to decide whether we want to continue with the mentorship journey. And I realized that we got along so well. Like they really, really made like a perfect pair when they partnered me up with her. So we got along really well, and even to this day, she's still my mentor. So it's also like about relationship and whether you can gel with that person or not, right? So there are some instances where you are assigned someone to be your mentor, but you guys just don't get along. So such things happen, if you're not getting along and also it's something that you can't work on or they can't work on, then if it doesn't work out, then, it's time to go. And also there are relationships, that you get mentorship relationships that are more formal and other ones that are more informal. So formal sort of mentorship sessions are those ones where it's like a program, you're checking in, it's like a whole schedule, it's a whole thing where you check in like 2 times, a month or whatever, all of that. And at the end of the day, it's like really, really structured. And then there are informal ones where, I see you and, I see that there's something that I can get from you as a person. And so I talk to you every now and then. If it's at work, it's coffee chats here and there. And I'm learning so much from you as an individual. So that is sort of like the informal part where perhaps even up front, I won't even declare that, I want you to be my mentor, but I'm just having chats with you. So you don't necessarily have to say, will you be my mentor type of vibe. It's also a thing of, okay, how I normally do it is, let me talk to this person, just like get their vibe, get what they're all about, whether, of course you would stalk them to just, just in preparation for you talking to them, stalk them first, find out what they've done, whether what they've done is something that you aspire to do, and then you go talk to this person. If the relationship is going well, then you can just continue. And over time, I mean, for a lot of my mentors, I don't remember like going to like the UCTVC and be like, will you be my mentor? But it was this thing of we spoke, and we continued talking, and like even to this day, if I have something, I can like go to her and say, hey, I'm struggling with 1, 2, 3. What do you think? What's your opinion? So such things, you don't necessarily have to say, will you be my mentor? I didn't even like ask her like, will you be my mentor? But as the relationship was progressing, I think she also said like, okay, this is mentorship vibe 101, something going on here. Because you might say to someone, will you be my mentor? And then it turns out you guys don't click and things are just awkward. So test the relationship out. Ask someone, for a cup of coffee, talk to them, pick their brain and all of that. And as a mentee, it's your responsibility to just drive the relationship. I normally look at it as, they have accomplished whatever you want to accomplish. So they can pretty much live their life. Like they don't need you in their life. You're the one who needs them in your life because you're trying to get to where they're at. And so it's important now as an individual to say, well, if I do need to get to where they're at, and I need them, then I need to be the one reaching out. And also respect people's times, because such people, they have a lot going on and all of that. So you want to be respectful of their time. Like you can't say you're going to a meeting with your mentor, someone you want to be your mentor, not prepared. Like respect their time. And also the questions that you ask, you must actually show that I've thought about this, or this is like something that I really, really like want to do, but I'm not sure how to go about it. So it should be questions that are well thought out. And so as a mentee, as a mentor, there's this concept called reverse mentoring, right? Where if you are the mentor in the relationship, you are sort of also learning a couple of things from your mentee as well. So it's quite important that in this relationship, it should be mutually beneficial. Like there shouldn't be one person benefiting from the relationship. The mentor as well stands to benefit, and the mentee as well. And it's also important to have mentors, because at the end of the day, why would you want to repeat the same mistakes that other people have actually made, which by just talking to them or just letting them in what you're thinking, you can avoid such things and cut yourself a lot of time that you would have wasted trying out things that might not necessarily work. So for me, that's me and mentorship. And when I was just like making decisions about my career, specifically this year when I was deciding, do I change companies? What do I want to do? And recently also thinking about what kind of actuary do I want to be? Such conversations are really critical to have with people who have experience in the industry, the people who have worked the journey before me. And I had like a lot of chats with a lot of people. And also the danger of mentorship is sometimes you're over mentored. And it was expressed in the Asaba conference, like sometimes you're overcooked. You have too many people that are talking to you. And it's also just overwhelming because there are so many voices that are speaking to you. So it's quite important to know like, who do I go to for what? So for spiritual matters, for financial matters, for, just thinking about my career, who do I go to? Because all those people will come in handy when you have to make some decisions in your life. And then we move on to the section of sponsorships, right? So we do understand that there are mentors and there are sponsors. So mentors will talk about you, will talk to you, right? You talk to them and all of that. And your sponsors, they talk about you. And as a sponsor now, they literally back you up. It's important to have a sponsor within your organization, especially if you have, if you see yourself remaining long-term in the organization, then it's important to have a sponsor, someone who will mention your name, even in rooms where you haven't stepped in. Like you have that one exec who can say, I can put my money on Fudu as an individual because they're excellent, they deliver, they're loyal and all of that. You need that person because it's not all rooms where you will be able to access, right? You need people in those rooms who will be able to say, I know this young man who's running this amazing business. He's going to do an excellent job for this thing. So that's where sponsors come in. And funny enough, unlike with mentorship where you can essentially go to a person and say, will you be my mentor? Which of course hopefully you don't do that. You just like take it from there, and then maybe over time when you figure out that this person and I get along, then you can sort of get into that conversation to say, this is what I want from you, how can you help me, and all of that, set up time and all of that. But with sponsors, it's different, because you can't go to someone and say, will you be my sponsor? The whole sponsorship relationship is based on trust, right? They have to trust you. They have to believe that you have what it takes to actually get the job done, or to do whatever that you meant to do. So it's important to have a sponsor and mentor as well. And over time, if you and your mentor have developed a great relationship, then your mentor can become your sponsor as well, because you would have built a great relationship with them, and you would have walked such an important and a beautiful journey with them, such that they have seen you like all around, essentially a 360 hopefully view of who you are as a person, what your strengths are and your weaknesses, so they'll be able to vouch for you. And sponsors and mentors don't necessarily have to be people in your own organization. Like, people outside of the organization are important as well as sponsors or mentors. And so it's important, like within the actuarial field as well, we know how small the space is. So within the actuarial space as well, it's important to have people outside the organization. When we have events and all of that, network, get to know people. Don't just live in your own world, because at the end of the day, your growth, where you will end up tomorrow, your next job probably, or your next big break, or your next business deal might actually come from your mentors or your sponsors vouching for you. So that is all in my experience, and I hope this chat, if you don't have a mentor, I would strongly suggest that you get one, just for your own growth. Over time, hopefully you'll get a sponsor as well. And if you're someone who is doing something, mentor someone. We all have things we can hand over to the next person. So if you have any comments, leave them in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I love you guys so much. I'll see you in the next video. Oh, bye.